An exotic animal has been reported stolen from a traveling reptile exhibition, Cirque des Lizards. They were planning their grand opening tomorrow, but they can't do it without their star attraction, an Indonesian Komodo dragon. Fascinating creatures, 8 feet long and capable of killing a man. Insurance companies will cover animals reported stolen. Even the owner becomes a suspect. I'm going to join you personally on this case. You've done well so far, and I'm looking forward to working with you. Let's head over to the grounds. This terrarium, dry, sandy, is perfect for a Komodo dragon. Human toe. Maybe our Komodo snapped off a little snack and didn't like it. Or maybe this is what's left of lunch. Can't imagine anybody be walking around here in bare feet. A dragon doesn't get dragged off without a fuss. Surely Mr. Roundtree would have noticed something. Unless he's our perp and the toe is his. Doesn't apply here. Looks like a flake of weathered vinyl. Naja sputatrix, spitting cobra, native to Indonesia, from Java through to Timor. Lovely, distinctive markings.
Name's Arnold Ziegler. I'm the promoter behind this show. You're the police? Detectives?
We're with the Las Vegas Crime Lab, Mr. Ziegler, and we're treating this as a crime scene.
Hey, that's exactly what it is. Maybe it seems silly to you, and you probably don't even know what a Komodo dragon is.
World's largest lizard, ferocious carnivore, found on the steep slopes of Komodo in the Lesser Sunda chain of the Indonesian archipelago.
Well, maybe you do know what a Komodo dragon is, but I bet you don't know that they're meat-eaters. Nasty ones.
Actually, I just said that, Mr. Ziegler. If you want your lizard back, let's not repeat ourselves.
Ernie Roundtree, maybe. Our night watchman? Nothing unusual on his incident report sheet. Of course, he stopped filling it out about midnight. Unfortunately, that's standard for Ernie. I've ragged him about it, but you know what they say about good help being hard to find. Also, cheap help.
If Mr. Roundtree's unreliable, do you consider him a suspect?
That sounds way more ambitious than Ernie. And these critters are as big as they are ugly, and vicious when they're fooled with. Of course, a lizard gets used to the people around him, and if he, the lizard, not Ernie, felt comfortable enough, I suppose Ernie hauling him off is possible. So he's your suspect?
He's a suspect. We check every possible angle and don't rule anybody out till the evidence points its finger.
Actually, I thought you might ask that. I checked his application and his address is a P.O. box, and I tried the phone number. Disconnected. It's fair to say he's local. Look, I know this may sound awful sloppy on my part, but I just hired the guy for some short-term overnight lizard babysitting. Listen, a circus, a carnival. You hire the people that show up when you're setting up the tents. That may not sound like good business, but it's the culture. Why would anyone want to steal 35 grand? That's what these overgrown handbags are worth on the black market. No, I don't know if you'd call it suspicious, but that mortician was around.
What mortician?
I guess you'd call him the neighborhood mortician. Victor Kaufman. Funeral home's just a couple of blocks down the street from here. Guy takes walks at night. Sometimes he strolls by here. Seen him asking our people about the show and such, just passing the time. And questions like his, well, they're typical. Like I said, the circus life, the carny trade, it seems exotic to straights. We get it everywhere we go. Must strike a chord in people. The kid that wanted to run off to the circus kinda wakes up inside him. Sometimes I hang around, but not last night. I was in a line longer than a casino buffet's, getting a refund for that world's wildest stunts thing. Motorcycle stunt reality show. I had tickets, but the network canceled the series. Biggest stunt they ever pulled was crashing in the ratings. You found a toe? A human toe? Was somebody killed here last night, you think?
At the very least, someone's walking with a new limp. Or not walking at all.
Oh, hell, this is the kind of publicity that scares customers off. They start imagining they could be some creature's next carry-out meal. If that damn Ernie'd been doing his job, his simple-minded job, I wouldn't be standing here knee-deep in Komodo caca. Just part of the scenery. Gives a pen a natural look, you know? People love that kind of stuff, and the animals don't seem to mind. Don't know why it was tossed in the corner, though.
Hello, sir. Are you the mortician here?
I'm him, and the chief mortician, Victor Kaufman. May I be of help? Have you suffered a loss?
We have, but it's not a loved one. We're crime scene investigators. May we ask a few questions?
Well, certainly. You police do a wonderful job. I'll do anything I can to be of service. Right here in the neighborhood. In work like mine, I find long evening walks of reflection most soothing.
A little late to be at work, isn't it? Or are you night shift too?
Oh, forgive me. I haven't made it clear. This is my home. It's not uncommon in my profession. There are tax advantages having your home double as your business, and there are, after all, round-the-clock demands in my field. I did go out to conduct one small piece of business. Stopped at Dr. Julius Ravelli's clinic, which is open nights. I needed to pick up a death certificate. Dying generates considerable paperwork.
Could the doctor confirm that, Mr. Kaufman?
Definitely, yes. Ernie Roundtree. I don't believe Oh, do you mean Ernie, the night watchman over at the circus grounds?
Yes. Happened to bump into him last night on your walk?
No, at least not that I recall. I have spoken to him a few times, recently, and he seems a nice man for having such a rough life. I hope he's not in some kind of difficulty. Oh, certainly. It's become a regular part of my walking route. It's fascinating watching them with their tents and animals and, well, I suppose it brings out the kid in one. Around this neighborhood, people are always out tending to things, but no, nothing comes specifically to mind.
That should do it for now. Coffins. Sort of like a new car showroom. Just selling a different sort of journey.
Yes? Tiny bit of heavy-duty vinyl. Not exactly fresh. Faded and brittle. You can take a closer look under the microscope. You do like to keep me on my toes. Prints from foot digits are cataloged way less than ones on our finger. Still, I'll run it as far as a single toe can go, and I'm running some DNA from it. Well, this is the first driftwood with reptilian feces on it I've ever processed.
I don't believe in luck, but I don't mind getting lucky. The air forces of some countries catalog pilots' toe prints. It seems aviation boots are often among the few survivors in charred aircraft wreckage. Back in '92, the Ukrainian Air Force made a highly publicized tour of the United States, during which several pilots defected. Our lost toe could have belonged to one of them. I'm not sure any of these match.
Well, now that you mention it, if you mean an individual who was on the, shall we say, chubby side, with dark hair, yes. I saw an individual of that description. Probably just another circus roustabout. Didn't think a thing of it. Just as I was heading home, he was going from a van towards the showgrounds. Now, I believe he was carrying something, yes. It was a board or perhaps a club. It was a white van. Let me see. Anything distinctive? Anything distinctive? Something on the side. Logo of some kind. Red letters. What did they spell? Red Curtain Imports.
That should do it for now.
No, and I can't tell you the color of his or her eyes either. This is a toe. Time of death estimates derive from examining rigor mortis, liver mortis, body temperature, chemical changes in the eyes, decomposition, or insect activity from a much larger sample than this. This only tells me it was severed anywhere from a couple of hours ago to last week. Well, the toe died when it got bitten off, and the bite is consistent with that of a dragon like your missing Komodo.
What's up? Let's have a look. Not getting anything. Not a recent address or place of employment. That's not a tough one. Here it is, but... It's in a residential neighborhood. Must be a zoning loophole. No prob. And there's a doctor in the house. Running an after-hours clinic, edge of downtown.
Hello? Anyone home? Open door. No sign of forced entry. Suspicious circs entitle us to take a look around. Someone tidied up here after something was spilled. Blood. Deposit slip, $15,000. Withdrew 100 in cash. Can't really make out the signature. There is an account number, though. Accuse me of scatology if you like, but this looks like fresh reptilian feces. Something was in here, and not long ago. We've got tracks in the dust behind the cart. The red curtain conceals an animal trade operation, most likely black market. Perfect environment for reptiles. Well, we finally have a victim. Our Komodo. Very sad. Even though we've recovered the stolen property, we still have a missing person and a toe unaccounted for. That blow to its head is the probable cause of death, but we'll get confirmation to be sure. Good evening, Dr. Ravelli. I know you're probably busy, but we're conducting an investigation. We'll only take a minute of your time.
Sure, you'll have it if you can keep this brief. I have a lot of patience this evening. Certainly. He's the director over at the Kaufman Funeral Home. Mortician. Yes, he was. Very briefly, though. A couple of minutes at the most. Routine business, picking up a death certificate. These originate in the mortician's office, then go to the attending physician who completes cause of death information, and back to the mortician for filing with the health department. A vagrant recovered from an abandoned building a little while ago. I sometimes pull the odd shift filling in for attending physicians on the emergency rotation. I've got the free time, and it pays well.
Need something? We aim to please. I'll check our business database. Well, it's a privately incorporated business, dates back about 10 years. Single registered owner. A bunch of board members listed when they incorporated, though. Sure, let's call a little cyber board meeting. Jeffrey Deschamps. Deschamps? Hey, I know that name. Dead cop from a case we worked on a while back. Huh, funny. Let's try Angus O'Grady. Huh, another deceased board member. I'll keep checking, but it doesn't take a dressmaker to see this pattern. Common cover-up technique, using names of dead people pulled from obits. Better see if Greg can decipher the depositor's scrawl. Sure thing. Well, here's a kick in the head. The money, all 15 G's, was deposited to Red Curtain from the account of, I wouldn't mind a drum roll, Cirque des Lizards Incorporated. Their temporary production office is only a couple of blocks from their tent setup.
Hey. That DNA is scanned and in the computer already, amplified and graphed. Pushcart tracks of some kind. I'll scan them into the computer. You're not going to find any search matches, but it could come in handy if you're doing comparisons. So I had the handwriting from the signature analyzed by Ronnie Litra, our documents technician, to see if we could decipher John Hancock's real name, but it wasn't conclusive. Still, if you can run some names by me, I can tell you how likely it is we've got a match.
Could the signature belong to Dominic Petrenko?
Sure, that works.
Our probable victim was involved with Red Curtain, making a big deposit just before he stole the Komodo dragon. And we find a part of his body at the circus.
Here's some news. I got nothing.
I'm not sure any of these match. So, this blood puts that toe, or its owner, back at Red Curtain Imports. May we speak with you again, Mr. Ziegler?
The dynamic duo. What a pleasant surprise. How exactly may I be of help? You know, I try to cooperate, but this is where I work. Unless you have a warrant, I'm gonna have to draw the line. I'm not an accountant. I'm promoting a show that racks up tons of bills and deals with scads of suppliers. Hey, I don't keep track of them all.
That should do it for now.
Yeah? What do you need, guys? Company transferred $15K to the guy who stole and killed their Komodo dragon, and now he's missing and presumed dead himself? Go check their offices.
Hey, you got the warrant. Means you got a good reason, so I'll just get out of your way.
Don't go far. That should do it for now. Phone number's local. Nothing to indicate significance. The number on that scrap of paper was called recently. Let's try redialing it.
This Dominic's cell phone. Leave message.
Dominic? As in Dominic Petrenko?
Never heard of him.
His number was recently dialed from your telephone.
Hey. Lots of people use that phone. Don't look at me.
That should do it for now.
What's up?
Bit of a tear in the vinyl here.
Fingerprints. That's even better than toes. Consider them digitized. I've put that into the image enhancement and microscopy equipment for you. I've done everything I can think of with that. This is exactly how I want you to deliver all Cobras to me. I'll toss it over to the image enhancement equipment for analysis. Nothing new to report on that.
Close only counts in horseshoes. Details make the difference, so be careful when asking for a confirmation. Maybe we can get a closer look at the newspaper in that cage. The day before last. This is a very recent photo. Interpreting evidence isn't guesswork. Make sure you look close for subtle differences before you ask me to double-check your work. There might be one in this group that makes a match. There's a clear difference between those. Make sure you've got a match before you ask me for a confirmation. Don't quite have a match there. Check the details when doing the comparison. Only when you're sure should you ask for confirmation. Well, Dominic seems to have been dealing black market reptiles to our friend Mr. Ziegler. Not something smiled upon by our legal system. What's up?
Okay, Dominic's prints were on the Cobra photo taken a couple of days ago. So this guy bought his exotic snake illegally from our victim only yesterday? And now he's lying about not being in contact with him lately? A guy who pays 15 grand for a killer snake sounds either stupid or smart in a very suspicious way. Let's talk to him.
What lie? I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Mr. Ziegler, we know Dominic sold you the Cobra. We can prove it. We also know you've been in contact with him recently. So let's cut the clown act and go right to the center ring.
Okay, so he sold me the Cobra. So what? I figured he was a good contact, could help me out with my animal supplies. He used to be an animal trainer at the Monaco Casino a while ago, so he's got the connections. I had no idea anything illegal was going down. We've been over this. Ernie never even filed his last few incident reports. I figure he took off early, lazy creep. Wouldn't have been the first time. Get what you pay for. Listen, I'll level with you. Petrenko is a lowlife, peddling exotic animals on the black market. You blame me for not owning up to that? In my
Why didn't you report his extortion?
I realize you may have formed an opinion of me as a low-type person. But I run a family show, schools, church groups. Last thing I need is the media saying I deal in black market animals, even if I do, you know? Perceptions, everything. I already told you I wouldn't lose sleep over him being dead, but I'm no killer. I mean, why would I anyway?
For stealing and killing your Komodo dragon.
My Komodo is dead? What son of a...
We're going to cut the clown act, remember? Dominic was extorting you, and you cut him off, so no love was lost. He tried to get even by killing the dragon, but you caught him in the act. You crept up on him, in the pen, knocking him out, and served him up cold to your star, saving a little on supplies.
What kind of sick... No, I didn't do anything like that.
Tell us about Ernie Roundtree, the security man you hired. His role is unclear. Did you send him home early to prevent his being a witness? Or is Ernie an accomplice?
No, you got it all wrong. Way wrong.
Detective Jim Brass, please report to reception. Detective Jim Brass to reception.
Back in a minute.
Remains? Okay, now you're starting to creep me out. Who says I did? I thought you were evidence guys. This is all some sick fantasy.
With both the dragon and a man dead, you needed to point suspicion elsewhere. So you hid the body and planted the dead dragon back at Petrenko's.
No. This is wrong. It's all wrong.
Look, Mr. Ziegler, we have a lot of evidence that...
Gil, show Mr. Ziegler to the waiting room, then meet me in my office.
Please come with me.
Well, a key piece of evidence just walked through the door, and I know how you love evidence. I stowed him in the interrogation room. Sure. I hope you're ready for this.
Dominic Petrenko. For me, you have been looking. Enjoying my life. But in 1 week, who can say?
I'll tell you what, Mr. Petrenko, you keep your answers simple and direct, and we'll do the same with our questions.
No, not Arnold, no. But he may want to strike me at this time.
Why is that?
I kill his Komodo dragon. But it's only fair, right? Because it killed me too.
We're not following you, Mr. Petrenko.
I sell many reptiles in past for his show. Always under table. I knew he was coming to town this month, so I planned my stealing. Last night, I go to his show to see if I could steal one of his more valuable animals. But something was wrong. The dragon, it was hiding in corner. When I moved closer, it jumped out and attacked me. Not at first. He'd take me down, but I wrestle him. Stay away from teeth. But he take bite from me. But he is soon, how to say, tired, sick. A sea dragon have the injury on his head. It died shortly after.
And it bit your toe off?
You may see what is left of foot. Had I not take off my runner shoes, I would not be waiting to die.
In such a dangerous environment, why would you do such a thing?
I pass storage area on the coming in. Cage of white rats I see. Rats they use for feeding dragon.
Ah, and you didn't want your white shoes mistaken for lunch.
I outsmart myself. Try to protect feet, lose toe. But this is not the worst.
Staphylococcus. The Komodo carries over 50 varieties of bacteria in its saliva. Bits of meat stuck in its teeth create a breeding ground for it, including several highly septic strains.
Yes, and now I die for my sin. But I am prepared to die. I was a soldier once.
Let's not call the funeral home just yet, Mr. Petrenko. In the wild, Komodo saliva is poisonous enough to bring down a water buffalo, but in Vegas, septicemia is treatable.
What does this mean?
You're not going to die from this. You're looking at a short hospital stay, right before a much longer one in prison.
I am around dangerous animal many years. Never do I see such animal react in this wild way. Someone must have done terrible thing to dragon before I come.
We're not going to know the story here till we learn what happened in the last hours of the dragon's life.
No, I am lone wolf. I act alone.
That should do it for now.
Hey.
Tiny strand of hair stuck to the wood grain. Could have gotten snagged accidentally, or via impact.
Human hair. You hit the follicle jackpot too. Who says you can't win in Vegas? Wood must have pulled out a hair on impact. Don't be surprised to find a Vic with a cracked skull and brain hemorrhage. Check out the DNA I ran from it, and try the follicle under the microscope too.
I'm not sure any of these match.
Something you want? Necroscopy is hardly my area, but our forensic veterinarian is on vacation, and I know you're in a squeeze. See what I can do. The dragon sustained a massive blunt force trauma to the head. Keep in mind, this is my first Komodo autopsy, all right? Animal appeared in generally good health, no nutritional deficiencies or signs of prolonged stress. He'd had a meal recently. I think you should.
This must be our dragon's last supper.
Yes? Don't ask me to explain this. That's your job. But I made an interesting discovery. Blood from 2 humans.
Any specific tissue, Greg?
Nothing I could get a positive ID on. You can check the computer for graphs of both blood samples, though.
This DNA matches the sample we recovered from the hair stuck in the driftwood. There's a clear difference between those. Make sure you've got a match before you ask me for a confirmation. That would be a match. Angela Carson. But this is unusual. Her entry is blank, no details, just a name.
Need something? Shouldn't be a problem. Though I don't know why you're not getting... Oh, I see. Woman's logged under a fairly new program cataloging human tissue DNA from archived hospital specimens, which wouldn't have come up on your search. Should be a no-brainer. According to this, she's... What? We might have a computer glitch here. Says Angela Carson was killed in a car accident 17 years ago. How in the world could her DNA show up today in your dragon's belly? Let's go to the report. Attending physician, Dr. Julius Ravelli. Isn't that the doc your funeral director claimed seeing the night in question?
Angela Carson. You understand, I've treated many, many patients over the years. But I do believe, yes, she was an accident victim, automobile, quite some time ago. Sorry, I'm completely fuzzy over the details. I do recall she died at the hospital of massive head trauma. Why do you ask? I mean, after such a long time. Yes, all our older records are computerized now. Should be no problem. Let's see. Here's the Carson woman. Accident took place 17 years ago. Rushed from scene to Sundown Hospital. Died shortly thereafter. OP flag. Pretty standard.
OP flag, you said?
I did, yes. Again, quite standard.
Meaning she was an organ donor. OP, organ procurement.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's how, long after her death, Miss Carson's DNA turns up alongside someone else's DNA. The result of an organ transplant. Tissue in transplanted organs gradually gets replaced, but even after 17 years, there'd still be traces. Somehow, both these DNA strands wound up in the belly of a beast.
Sure, I'll check for you. Let's see. None listed. Of course, these older medical records aren't always as extensive as we'd like them to be.
That should do it for now.
Yeah? What do you need, guys? Easy enough to check? Okay. You ready for this? She was married to one Victor Kaufman, our friendly neighborhood mortician. Miss Carson apparently kept her maiden name.
Afraid that's all I have for you.
She did. It was a terrible loss, and I feel the pain every day of my life. That's why I got into this noble profession. I understand loss. I know sorrow. I live with mine every day, and it allows me to deal with those who are confronted with theirs. What a stunning coincidence. I never knew who attended her. I was not in town when the tragedy occurred. Didn't make it to the hospital before Angela passed. What a strange and small world. Certainly. I've made it clear, I hope, how much I value the contribution of you people. One thing, however, I must insist you stay out of the preparation room in respect for the families we serve here. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to prepare for a meeting with the bereaved.
Probably shouldn't take the table itself. An old body bag. Something on this bag here? Nice catch. Though it's not unusual to find a body bag at a funeral home. Even one with blood on it. Nothing here but us. Reference numbers? For what? A keychain drive. Kind you plug into a computer USB port. Handy for transferring data or files between PCs. This page has special entries over the last decade. One was entered very recently. A compulsive personality will often track things, even if they're potentially incriminating. Associate degree in funeral service education, 13 years after his wife's death.
Bloody, the body bag. Oh, that. Terrible accident victim. Poor soul, blood everywhere. Wiped most of it up, then tossed the bag.
What's up? Narrow treads, not a car. We'll scan it anyway. We'll send the blood on this swab for a ride on the old thermocycler. That's ready for image enhancement microscopy. Tread marks. Eyeball analysis, not a car. But you probably should check them out on the computer. Better safe than silly. scanned the data on this keychain drive with the hex editor and broke out a database pattern. All the carriage returns got stripped out, but I can make it usable. Won't be easy, but I'm here to make your life simpler and more meaningful, right? Characters are similar to the pattern of data from the USB keychain drive. There's a basic search interface for you on the computer. Can't think of much more to tell you about that. Nothing new to report on that.
Matches. By itself, this isn't definitive, though. This DNA matches the sample we recovered from the hair stuck in the driftwood. Lines up. Same color, too.
Afraid that's all I have for you.
Hey.
All these victims had organs transported to a recipient in India, which is well known for an underground market for organ trade.
Afraid that's all I have for you.
Not immediately illuminating, but worth collecting. evidence seldom makes its meaning known on first glance.
What's up? Characters are similar to the pattern of data from the USB keychain drive. There's a basic search interface for you on the computer.
Gene Cordick, organ recipient, died in 1992. William Barilko died in 1997, also an organ recipient. Carla Brewer, Mary Sawchuk, same. But look at this. John Doe just recently entered. He's associated with J.J. Thomas's estate. Must be the homeless man from the Claire Thomas case. Coincidence? So all of the accounts listed on the page are of deceased organ donor recipients. The other numbers seem to reflect what he quoted the families on funeral services, all well below market price. So our thoughtful, compassionate mortician has been underbidding on these specific funeral services. Why? Suppose the organs these people received all came from Angela Carson. But morticians don't have access to records of that kind. And why would he have gone to such lengths to collect his late wife's body parts?
Don't be absurd. And I warn you, I won't stand for having my good reputation demeaned.
We were just asking, Doctor, because of a scrapbook at Kaufman's home listing organ recipients. You'd be his best source of information in that area.
All right. All right. I'm going to cooperate fully. I want that noted, too. I'm the victim here, understand? Victor Kaufman is a sick, dangerous man, and he's put me under incredible pressure for years. I detest participating in such unethical behavior. But I had no real other choice. Victor said either I helped him or he would destroy me and my career. Kaufman's wife, Angela, was in critical condition when she was brought into the ER, but was not unconscious and could still speak. At one point, I asked her to sign an organ donor card, which she did. It's on file. Kaufman didn't make it to the hospital until long after Angela died. In fact, we were already preparing some of her organs for transport. He said nothing at that time, though I remember he had a sick, glazed expression. Later, he said it was impossible Angela could have agreed to organ donation, that they shared strict religious beliefs against such practices, even though his funeral home does cremations. Well, anyway, he began to claim that I'd procured her signature when she was not fully cognizant, that I'd been unethical in my zeal. And he said he was going to go public if I didn't cooperate.
Has your zeal been unethical, Doctor?
Certainly not. But I couldn't convince Kaufman of that.
And that's when he shifted his blackmail pressure to your black market dealings, correct?
What in God's name are you talking about?
Does the name Ram Kumar ring a bell? We know you've been dealing in organs to the black market in India. Victor Kaufman noticed deceased patients were coming through his funeral home with organs inexplicably missing, and eventually figured out what you were up to. So he threatened to expose you if you didn't help him. The identities of donors and recipients are kept confidential, but doctors have access to the information. You helped him track the recipients of his wife's organs.
I think I should consult my attorney.
Frankly, that would be my prescription. That should do it for now.
You know, I really don't know. That seems to be a scrap of paper that should have been tossed out. Probably just some old notations that, now out of context, don't bring anything to mind.
The latest entry's quite recent, Mr. Kaufman.
Yes. Isn't that strange? Terribly sorry. You know how much I want to help, but I just can't recall what that signifies. Maybe they're old lottery ticket numbers. Underbidding. Look, I have gone out of my way to be helpful to you people, and now you insult me with this ridiculous, bizarre question? How could I run a business that way?
We're just talking about a handful of clients, Mr. Kaufman. And Dr. Ravelli tells us he was helping you trace these people. Why would that be?
I find this line of questioning as offensive as it is incomprehensible. Well, that does sound oddly coincidental, but such things happen. Previous owner, I suppose.
You didn't happen to go near that dragon pen when you were out for your evening stroll, did you, Mr. Kaufman? Body bag slung over your arm, maybe?
Of course not. What in heaven's name would I be doing near that pen? That would be foolish. And with a body bag, please. Is there no end to these absurd questions? Why ever would I take my folding operating table there? It's a common enough table, thousands like it could match those tracks.
Need something? Hey, evidence is really mounting. Let's get some more, with a thorough search of that funeral home.
Let's open it. Our homeless heir from the Claire Thomas case. Looks like he's ready for cremation. Now that's odd. Fresh incision over his heart scar. Stitched back up. There's something underneath. Give me a hand. It's Ernie Roundtree, our missing security guard. Well, I think we've found enough to put Victor away for a long time.
What's up? You got him dead bang. Still, won't be easy to bring him in. I've got a car outside that funeral home and there's no sign of him. So where does a crazed homicidal mortician go after his life has come unraveled?
Mr. Kaufman, what are you doing?
Keep back. Keep back or I'll skip a step with the good doctor and we'll start the embalming procedure just a little bit early. With my personal blend of formaldehyde and insecticide.
You don't want to do that, Victor. You had a mission, didn't you? An objective? This isn't part of your plan. Stay calm, Doctor.
Do my best.
You're in control, Mr. Kaufman. But let's talk. Like the calm, thoughtful man that you are.
Go ahead. Go ahead and ask your question. Maybe I'll answer. The lazy security guard.
Oh, but he's much more than that. You've been keeping an eye on him, right, Victor? May I call you Victor? Him and the other recipients of your late wife's organs.
You make it sound like I'm a stalker.
I don't think you started out that way, but you got impatient. That's why we found Ernie Roundtree's body at your funeral home about to be cremated, hidden beneath the body of J.J. Thomas's alleged son, another of Angela's organ recipients.
Those ghouls didn't have a right to her organs. They were hers. Surely you understand that, don't you? Don't you?
Please don't excite him.
I'm a man who loved his wife very much, and I am a religious man. So what else could I do?
You were trying to restore her body to its perfect state?
If you don't understand, I can't help you.
I think I do understand, Victor. But you have sinned, haven't you? You believed the doctor pressured your wife into signing. So you blackmailed him for years and tracked your beloved wife's organs. After John Doe, The restoration of Angela was almost complete after a decade of work. But the coincidence of Ernie working nearby must have seemed to you a sign, a divine gift. The final piece of this puzzle you were reassembling had been put right before you. You killed Ernie, removing his kidney and leaving it atop the body bag. You went for your rolling table, but the Komodo came out and began eating your trophy. You tried to beat him back, but you weren't fast enough.
I did it for Angela. You do understand. Would you have me doom her to remain in her cold grave on the great day when the heavens open, ready to welcome her? She could not make that journey unrestored. I did it for her, and I would do it again. But you are right, Mr. Grissom. My mission is complete. When the great day comes, Angela will be ready, and so will I.
Everything you've done so far has been out of love for Angela. Don't kill again out of hate.
I must kill one last time, Mr. Grissom. But again, you're right. Such a wise man you are. We could have been great friends. I kill one last time for love.
We can gather and understand the evidence. We can learn so much from the science, but we'll never fathom the inner workings of the human heart. Not the organ, the soul. You surprised to hear me use a word like soul? Well, the human animal has a unique level of cognizance. The only creature who understands and can foresee its own death. The only animal that looks at the sky and wonders about a supreme being. And while such thoughts may separate us from the rest of the lizard circus and give us the ability to make art and explore science, they can also lead a tortured soul like Victor Kaufman down strange, twisted paths that even forensics can't unravel. Good work on these cases. I realize some of them must have seemed bizarre, but this is just the beginning for you.